All right, now for the lesson. What are some properties of quadrilaterals? There is a visual learning bridge for this right here, visual learning, there's an eyeball. So there is a video for this in your playlist on Savaz. But here's just a quick mini lesson from me. There are several different quadrilaterals. Okay, triangles are kind of easy. There's only 3 ways to identify a triangle by its side and 3 ways to identify a triangle by its angle. But these, you have some questions you need to ask yourself. It says categories of quadrilaterals are classified by their properties. So how many pairs of opposite sides are parallel? That's one of your questions. Which sides have equal length? And how many right angles are there? That's going to help you decide. It says think about the questions below when you're classifying quadrilaterals. So I did tell you this already. Poor Tommy trapezoid. Put a little Tommy here. I always love talking about the shape family. Tommy trapezoid only has 1 pair of parallel sides. Okay, so this is a trapezoid because these sides are parallel. It might not look like the perfect trapezoid that you picture growing up learning about, but that is a trapezoid. This is also a trapezoid, okay, because these are parallel, but these are not. This happens to have a right angle trapezoid, which is pretty cool. All right, so trapezoids only have 1. A parallelogram, he's kind of like another name for the family. Like in the quadrilateral family, there's like another family of parallelograms. Squares can be parallelograms, rectangles can be parallelograms, rhombuses can be parallelograms, and then this is just a regular parallelogram. This one has 2 pairs of opposite sides, parallel and equal in length. So the opposite sides are parallel and equal. So those are parallel, but they're also equal. These are parallel and also equal. Let me zoom in. Rectangles. Opposite sides are parallel. Opposite sides are equal. Opposite sides are parallel. Opposite sides are equal. Okay, same with this. These are all the same size and the opposite sides are parallel. These are all the same across from themselves. So the opposite sides are parallel and opposite sides are also equal. So that's a parallelogram. Pretty simple. All right, a rectangle is just like a parallelogram. Okay, except for it also has to have these little right angles. Okay, remember a little box in the corner recognizes that there's 90 degrees in those angles. It could be a rectangle like this, it could be a rectangle like that, or it could be a square. A square is a rectangle because the rectangle has 4 right angles and so does a square. All right, opposite sides are parallel and equal, opposite sides are parallel and equal, opposite sides are parallel and equal, so it's a rectangle, okay? A rhombus has all sides the same. All right, I kind of want to jump over to a square instead. A rectangle that has all sides the same, like this green guy, is a square. Okay, so a square also has 4 right angles, but it has all sides. All 4 sides are the same length. So those are all the same. All right, now let's hop back to rhombus. So, by the way, I always have like Rachel, rectangle, and then there's Raquel rhombus. So Raquel is a little bit sassy. R-A-Q-U-E-L, and this is R-A-C-H-E-L. Rachel's nice. She's like pretty straight and narrow, pretty simple. And then there's Raquel. Raquel's a little sassy. So it's like we took a rectangle, or sorry, a square, and we just kind of pushed it on its side, and now the opposite sides are parallel, the opposite sides are equal, but there's no longer that nice 90-degree angle, all right? A square could be a rhombus, okay? You could call this a rhombus, but you can't call, you can call it a square also, okay? But this is not a rectangle, and this is not a square. This is just a rhombus because it doesn't have 90 degrees. All right, then there's square. Square is just Sally Square. She's just the same all around. Nothing too crazy about her. Just Raquel, watch out for her. She's a little sassy thing. All right. Hopefully you can use these notes to help you identify shapes on the next page and moving on. But really quickly, in the Convince Me, how is a parallelogram different from a rhombus and how are they similar? Okay, so when I asked you to compare things, how are they different, how are they similar? Different, I'll be on the outside, and similar is on the inside. Let's move this down a little bit. So I'm gonna say this is a parallelogram, this is a rhombus. All right, and I'm gonna put key point number 1 here. So 1, parallelograms, opposite sides, all sides do not have to be equal. All sides not equal. All right, because here is a parallelogram, the top and bottom are longer than the sides, okay? A rhombus, let's put that as key point number 2. All sides have to be equal. So that's how they're different. But how are they similar? That'll be key point number 3. Opposite sides are always parallel. All right, so we have a parallelogram, which I can make by drawing 2 congruent parallel lines, and then, I don't like that. That's a little better. All right, and now if I connect them, opposite sides are parallel, opposite sides are congruent. It's not perfect, but you get the idea. A rhombus, on the other hand, has to have all 4 sides equal. So it's more of a square that's been pushed on its side, kind of slanty, because it doesn't have RH for rhombus and PA for parallelogram. So these are all the same size, but there's no right angles, okay? Now, both of them do have opposite sides parallel. These are parallel, these are parallel. Okay, these 2 are parallel, these 2 are parallel. All right, so that sure convinced me. I've got a little bit over time here, but that was a good mini lesson for shapes. If you need help when identifying the shapes on the next page, just make sure you refer to these notes.